Third question goes to Adrian Garcia. Mr. Garcia, if you were elected mayor, arguably your most important appointment will be your decision as who will be your police chief. Who do you think has been the best Houston police chief of the last 35 years? Let's take it back to 36. We'll go back to Harry Caldwell, if you like, all the way through B.K. Johnson, Sam Nucci, Clarence Bradford, all the way up to Charles McClellan. Who was the best?
You know, I think every one of our chiefs has been a phenomenal leader for their respective time. You know, Chief Caldwell led us through a tough time after we had the Moody Park riots and helped to create bridges and relationships with a community that felt disenfranchised after our horrible issue of abuse. And then you had Chief Caldwell, Chief Bankston, and then you had Chief Bells, and then ultimately you had Lee Brown, who came in and instituted community-oriented policing. The concept that we're talking a lot about these days in regards to things that have happened in other parts of the country. Chief Nucci, one of the best guys I had the pleasure of working with. Had an incredible amount of respect for him and his tough leadership at a time when we needed tough leadership. Everybody's had, I think, something to contribute at the right time for the right reasons. And so, but I think that at the end of the day, Chief Bankston was the one that set us on a career or on a pathway for professionalism.
Thank you very much, Adrian Garcia. Ben Hall, 30 seconds.
Well, I have a pretty clear answer on this. Sam Nucci happened to be my client when I was a city attorney. And Sam was as forthright and straight on the law as any police chief ought to be. I think he was a great police chief for the city of Houston. I also believe that Clarence Bradford, in his continuation of community policing, was also an example. But beyond Sam Nucci, I would say he would not come close to his leadership. I applaud Sam for what he did.
Very good. Bill King, 30 seconds.
I would agree that Sam Nucci was the best chief in the last 35 years. I think the fact that he was also a great lawyer, went on to become a judge, gives you some idea of the intellectual capacity he brought to the job. The issue, though, I think really more relevant is who's the next police chief is going to be. And I promise you it's going to be somebody that's going to think catching more than 8% of the burglars is important.
Right. Very good. Marty McVeigh, 30 seconds.
I think it's Lee Brown. Lee Brown is an educator. As police chief, he's an educator. He's believed in community-oriented policing. He has taught many police officers over the decades on the best practices for policing. I think that he's done a good job. His writings, his teachings have saved many police officers' lives and many citizens.
Sylvester Turner, 30 seconds.
And I choose to be more futuristic. I think we can learn from all of them, but I think it's important that you have 20,000 crimes that are not being investigated right now. We need somebody with good management skills. We need fewer police officers on the street of the city of Houston than existed 10 years ago. We need someone who can recruit and reduce the administrative costs. Because if you look at the budget, it is soaring from $700 to nearly $1 billion. We need the officers on the street. We need the crimes investigated. And we need somebody tough and can be respected and know that people want to be safe in their home. Let's be futuristic. I choose not to look back in time.
All right. Chris Bell?
I get the feeling some people don't want to answer this question. I think Tom Lambert, he did such a great job at Metro, now he's running the whole show over there. But actually, I was going to probably surprise some people and say Lee Brown and Sam Nucci for very different reasons. Lee Brown because he tore down a lot of barriers in the city, and he did introduce community policing, something I think we need to return to. If you're not familiar with a community, it's very difficult to keep it safe. Sam Nucci because he came at a time when crime was out of hand and he got it under control. And I did that
Thank
in
you very
30
much.
seconds.
Thank you, Chris Bell. Steve Costello, best police chief.
I make the practice of not looking back. I continue to look forward. And so I will be focusing on someone who can bring management and business practices back to the police department, not only public safety skills. The police department is aging. We need to change the demographics of our police department. Same size we've had in 10 years, except their budget is double. Over $800 million this year alone is going to be the police department's budget. We need to have management skills in addition to our public safety skills and ensure that we're also going to have good clearance rates on our crime. Thank you.
Adrian Garcia, you have the last word on this. 30 seconds.
You know, we do need to look into the 22nd century. And so my appointment for police chief will be someone who understands where is the city of Houston today and where it's going to be tomorrow. We speak over 100 languages. We're the most richly cultured and diverse city in the country. So we need someone that can think through all those respective challenges and keep the city safer than it's ever been before. So we need to look for someone that will help look into the future, but understanding where we're at today.
Very good. Fourth question.